Hey guys, welcome back to Thelearningdroid and welcome back to the Weller Wood Burning and Hobbyist Kit list, or beginner's guide. Today we're going to be looking at what they call the universal tip. This tip is simply a chisel point, I suppose you'd call it, that's been done at a slight angle. These things are really difficult to get out of the blinking box. That's one thing I don't like about them, is getting them out of the box is really quite hard. There we go. Just let me unplug that so that it's cooled down slightly by the time I want to come to use it. So guys, this is Chisel Tip. Let's see if I can get it somewhere where you can see it. There we go. So this is the universal tip, guys. As you can see, it's a 45-degree angle chisel tip. Comes with the Weller Wood Burning Hobbyist kit. Also comes with pretty much every solid point machine. It's pretty standardised solid point. I've used this one quite a bit, guys. It's quite useful. Personally, I find it a bit awkward for doing straight lines with, but that was a while ago, so I may have improved. Once again, guys, with the Weller Wood Burning Hobbyist kit, it's not a brilliant kit for controlling the temperature. You plug it in, it will get warm, it will continue to heat up. To get the temperature you want, guys, you have to time it right. So you have to get the right timing for the temperature you want, unless you want to use it at full temperature, in which case it doesn't matter. It's about practice, guys. Don't be discouraged if you get things wrong or if things turn out wrong. One of the reasons you should always have a bit of scrap wood, guys, you can check how hot the bit is and whether it's producing the sort of line you want it to produce. Best if the scrap is the same sort of wood you're going to be using. So that's the universal tip, guys. We'll do a video on that. I'll show you the sort of things I do with it, the sort of lines I've done with it, and I'll just talk a little bit about pressure and angles and things that you use it with. So thanks for watching, guys. Move on to the burning. Okay guys, so the universal tip. Here we have it, preheated, everything ready. If I use a bit of scrap, guys, as you can see, we get nice straight, quite sort of sharp lines. Doing a curve with it, guys, is a bit harder. I recommend you use just the point, and you turn the wood almost as much as you turn the patterning bit. This is a piece that used that. You can see it primarily in the uprights of the grass, guys, but it also used it for shading on the riverbed as well as the shading tip, and it used it on the tiger, guys, but then I went over it again with the pattern cutting bit. With this, guys, it's once again it's pretty similar to other bits that exist. And again, guys, it's all about, if you want a nice clean one, it's all about moving as you touch the wood, keeping a nice constant movement, nice standardized movement, and that gives you a nice straight line. So if I zoom in slightly, there we go. Moving as you land, nice straight line, at an angle that you're comfortable drawing at. There you go, that's how you do a straight line with it. Now, it's a universal tip, guys, the idea being that you can draw lines of different thickness and in different directions. If you drag it sideways, guys, then you're going to get this kind of band effect. And that's a nice heavy dense bit of wood, so you can see that on the heavier denser bits of pine you're really going to have to, this is one of the few times where you press, guys. This is a light bit of pine over here, guys, and literally no pressure at all. I'm not pressing down in the slightest, it's just the weight of the machine and I'm getting that. This is a heavy dense bit of pine, and literally if I just run it over with the weight of the machine, that's all I get, guys. You see that? Yeah, that's all I get, guys, is that. If I press down quite firmly, then I start getting the darker shading that I want. And it's just because of the density, guys. And as you can see on this piece, you can see where some of this shading came from. With the slightly thicker lines, guys, it's a little bit hard to get lines drawn with this at a slight angle. But don't try and draw it with it angled like that, so you're pulling it this way. Yeah? Try and draw it with it angled slightly like that. So if I have it held vertically, guys, then I get a nice straight narrow line. If I hold it slightly like this, then you'll notice I get a thicker line. It's a little bit harder to keep the thickness standardized because it's all about getting the right speed, and I'm cutting across the grain here. But if I cut with the grain, it might be a bit easier. We get a nice line, however thick we want it. So you can also use it, guys, for shading. If you cool it down slightly, either by using it before it's sort of done, or by blowing on it, or by moving it gently and very lightly over a piece, then you can get a shading effect. You can get a variation from dark all the way up to light simply by varying the time and the pace of contact. Don't burn knots, guys, they have too much moisture in them. As you can see, I will clean this bit thoroughly afterwards, but you can see that I'm just getting lots of liquid out of that, and it's just not a very nice burn. I wouldn't recommend burning knots if you can avoid it. You can burn knots, guys, but I don't like it. It's liquidy, it's full of resin, it's not pleasant. You can also use the flat of it, guys, if you want to get a really heavy burn or a really heavy shade. And again, this is at full temperature, guys. If you want a slightly nicer appearance, a lower temperature works better. There's a nice carbon build-up on that from doing that, guys. So actually, I should be able to, if I'm careful, because there's a carbon build-up, guys. And this is one way of controlling the temperature, is letting the carbon build-up happen. So you see I can get a slightly lighter shade despite the fact it's at full temperature, even on the softer bits of wood, because I've now got a carbon build-up on it. Shading with the Weller kit, as I said before, guys, is a bit difficult. This one does really nice straight lines. Curved lines, I would recommend moving the block of wood almost as much as you move, in fact more so than you move the patterning bit, or you move the pyrography machine, because it actually gives you a better control of those bits. In a grainy wood like this, guys, don't press into it too much. It's better to run over the same line a couple of times lightly than it is to press hard, because if you press hard you're going to get much more variation, because it's going to react to the grain more. So nice light, go over it once. You want it darker, go over it again. You want it darker, go over it again. You want it darker, go over it again. And once you've gone over it a couple of times, guys, you can start to slow down and linger a bit more to get a wider or darker line, simply because you've already got the channel through which you're running, so you're not going to be so affected by the grain. Less grainy woods, guys, works exactly the same. Nice straight line using the tip, nice straight line using the whole body, slightly thicker. Curves done by moving the piece better than anything else. Shading with the edge, if I look for the carbon covered edge, so this is the carboned edge, I can still gently shade and get a nice bit of variation going from a dark shade here through to a light shade at the other side. Sorry guys if you missed that. As I said, straight line with the tip, straight line with the body makes it a bit thicker. Lingering will give you certain styles and designs. So guys, that's the universal tip, guys. Really simple, really easy to use, can do lots of stuff with it. It's all about experimentation, guys, and as with all the bits, guys, very little pressure will get you what you want. One other thing is the arrow points. I like arrow points with this, guys. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Yep. Literally you use the bottom edge of it rather than the top edge, and you just press in, and the sharper the angle you get, guys, the longer the arrow point, and you just get these nice little arrow points. I quite like them, guys. I think they look quite pretty. I think they look quite nice as thorns on flowers and things. But literally you basically just overextend the angle and just press it into the wood, and you get these little arrow points, guys. That's it, guys. That's everything I do with the universal tip. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.